Okay, Irina. Oh, all right. I figured my problem with. Yeah, so guys, we have a good attendance today. So I believe we'll start. If you can use your camera, because I don't really know if you're following, or it's kind of hard to talk to black squares. Right, so if you can, I would ask you to please use your camera, because I will be also asking you questions. Yeah, thank you so much. This is so much more helpful. Yeah, so happy to see you all here. And as you are interested in a good motivation letter, so tell me please, where do we need motivation letters and what do we need it for? Which venues demand motivation letters or ask for motivation letters? Well, you all know the answer to this question. You can raise your electronic hand or you can just jump in and tell me. Okay, many jobs demand motivation letters today, as well as many exchange programs. So this is something that could be really, really, really important to you. Motivation letters for exchange programs, right? I guess many of you are interested in specifically that, right? But you also will need them oftentimes for jobs and for any study abroad programs. I really appreciate those who turned on their cameras. So let me share my screen with you. Can you see the picture? And changing the slides?
Yes, we see.
Great. So the purpose of motivation letter, sometimes they are called motivational letters and sometimes just motivation letters. So motivation letters are often required for jobs, internships, college applications for scholarships, study abroad programs. So the main purpose of motivation letters is to find out if you are a good fit for a program of study or for a job. To learn about your qualifications, experience, motivation, and also to learn something about you as a person, right? So something that your CV doesn't say, your motivation letter should say. Oftentimes you get very little guidance as to how motivation letters should look like and what they should include. Let me just stop here and show you an example of a motivation letter. This is a created one. It's not a real one, but it is based on the real existing exchange program, but it's designed as a training one for students. So this is a call for applications for an exchange program, right? So why don't we look at it and see? They demand a motivation letter for as a part of their application, right? Let's look at it and see what exactly information would go into motivation letter specifically for this program. And you probably heard a saying in Ukrainian in your mathematics, from your mathematics teachers, the answer to the question is in the question itself. Right? So these programs often ask for motivation letters, but in their calls, you can find much information that gives you tips what exactly the program is looking for. Can I have a volunteer to please read the first big blob of letters here, of the letter, of the call for letters? Because I cannot see you all, so nobody volunteers. Okay, let's read it together. Look through it. So we invite international students to spend a summer at the University of Derbyshire, located at the East Midlands of England, in terms of the non-degree visiting student program. Known for its 300-year-old traditions and academic excellence, our university offers a wide array of courses in history, literature, culture, and related disciplines, open to undergraduate students of various majors. Besides attending classes, students are invited to participate in seminars, colloquia, students' roundtables on pressing contemporary issues, which are often hosted by the university. Our library, which boasts a rare collection of manuscripts of the 19th century British authors in a wide array of fields and an extensive selection of contemporary post-1980 fiction, film, and periodicals, is open every day except Sundays and holidays. We are looking for a motivated student with clear academic goals who shares our mission of promoting peace and understanding in the world through education. It is a very generic, very general call for papers. But if you were to write a motivation letter for this particular call, what exactly would you put in there? Or to put it differently, what information does this little call provide here? What does it tell you that you need to provide in your motivation letter? So basically, we are learning to read the calls for motivation letters. Come on, I don't see you all because I have a letter in front of me, so please jump in.
Like, you need to be a student of history, literature, culture, or related disciplines, of course. Also, you have to like be a participant of different like non-academic activities such as seminars, colloquias.
Yes, very good. Roundtables on pressing contemporary issues. So oftentimes when you see students are invited to participate, that means you are expected to participate, right? When you are there. So read it as you are expected to participate, right? So yeah, this is good information. What other things stand out that you need to be in order to participate in this program? Look at it clearly. What about clear academic goals? You need to state clear academic goals. Yeah, and you have also to support the mission of promoting peace and understanding through education, right? So all these give you clues as to what your motivation letter should include, as well as, for instance, it gives you also information about the library. That is very good. You can also use this information in the motivation letter. Right? So when looking at this call, you already know a couple of things, right? So I would just, thanks Božena for your contribution, right? I will just point out that this program is open to students in various majors, right? However, the project that you are writing about or in your motivation letter should relate to history, literature, culture, or related discipline, right? So you can be student of anything, but you have to be willing to study these during the semester at the University of Derbyshire, right? So already this information is an important information, as well as these program requirements that we didn't quite look at, right? So the first thing you do when you are about to write a motivation letter, you read through the application call and read it very carefully. right? Read it very carefully and see which information you can extract from it, right? So read and tailor your motivation letter to this very call. Your language needs to be reflected. The language of the call needs to be reflected in your letter. So here are a couple so if you're writing, I don't always see what you're writing, guys, because I'm talking. So it's better that you not write in chat, but just talk to me, right? So the first things you do in your motivation letter, right? You need to find out more about the program and reflect the language and values of the program in your letter. So when the program tells you that you need to promote peace and understanding, right? Your project should relate to peace in one way or the other, right? In your motivation letter. So in other words, adapt your motivation letter to the program to which you're applying. Look at the qualities requested in the application call and explain how they relate to you. Right? Some general advice is make sure that your letter is no more than 1 page or 1.5 page maximum, or follow the guidelines if there are such. It is very important to follow the guidelines for motivation letters. If the program, the exchange program, or the university give you specific guidelines, for instance, your motivation letters should be 2 pages long. This is how it should be, right? It should be font 14, right? This is what it should be. And sometimes if your motivation letter does not comply with formal expectations, it is tossed to the bin. You know, when there are many applications, you know, the reviewers will not be looking at it. So it's very important that you follow the guidelines, right? Oh, sorry. So some general advice that we'll come back to as we talk more about the letter are choose your letter is going to be short. You know, it's 1 page to 1.5, maximum 2 motivation letters. So you need to select what's important and focus on the strong points, on your strong points. It is about finding also the right balance, accentuating your strong points as well as not sounding arrogant, right? You need to clearly explain why you want to study at this program or why you want this job. Talk about your professional goals. Talk about what you have achieved and what you are proud of, how that experience prepared you, and be as factual as possible. Support everything with examples. So to make it a bit more clear, let's look at, you know, the beginning, the body paragraphs, and the main paragraph of motivation letter. So if you look at the structure of the letter, each letter should include an introduction, main paragraph, and conclusion. So in the introduction, make sure you address the right person or organization. Sometimes people are applying to multiple programs and they forget to change the attribution or the head message. Include personal information, your name, your university, and how you can be reached, your email or telephone number. Specify where you are applying and why you are applying there, right? It could be 1 sentence, and we'll look at the introduction specifically. In the body paragraphs, you explain basically the reasons why you want this position or why you want this exchange program. The body paragraphs is for explanations, right? So you explain why this program is important to you. You specify your achievements, your experience. You can support your experience with a short personal story, but that also depends on the program, right? You can just limit yourself with examples. And examples are key here. The more factual you are, the better. So, for example, when you say, for example, that you know English, right? And English is required as a requirement for the program. Make sure you you explain what your exposure to English has been, right? Where you studied it, for how many years, maybe you participated in language camp, right? So make sure, or you passed the exam, the English language exam, that shows that you really know English, right? And you received B2 in the Cambridge exam, right? So anything that is important needs to be supported through examples. In the conclusion, you often mention your future plans and how participation in this exchange program will further your goals. You also thank the readers and use concluding phrases and sign your name. So let's look at each part separately. So beginning, your introduction. Again, I remind that you need to address the correct organization, include personal information and why you are applying. So this could be the head of your motivational letter. So Olena, whatever, bachelor student at the Ukrainian Catholic University, Department of Philology, telephone number and email where you can be reached. There are many ways you can start your motivation letter. You can address your motivation letter. Dear Professor Smith, dear members of selection committee, dear Madam Sir, if you don't know the person, right? And again, although you mentioned who you are, it is a good note to start introducing yourself again. I'm a second-year student at the Philology Department of the Ukrainian Catholic University. It is my pleasure to apply for such and such internship at such and such organization. Or I am writing to apply for such and such program at such and such university. So specify the reason why you are writing, right? Because oftentimes, students just jump in to their achievements right away without really making an effort of presenting who they are, right? And this creates a sense of not thinking through, that the student hasn't thought through the process of applying, right? So you know, if you want to explain a bit more, you could say, I'm writing to express my interest in your study abroad program for future teachers, as it has been my lifelong ambition to become a teacher, to inspire and motivate my students. So, but the idea is the first paragraph should introduce you, right? Who you are, which department you represent. Right. Then we have your body paragraphs. Actually, let's start here. So in the body paragraphs of the letter, so here again I want to stress that some motivation letters, some programs would have specific requirements, what you need to include. So if those requirements are specified, this is exactly what you need to include there, right? However, generally, most motivation letter would expect you to explain why you are interested in this exchange program, opportunity, internship, or study abroad program. They would expect you, to explain your achievements and experience. If the space allows, you can support it with an extended experience in the form of a story, but that's not usually the main point. So the important is to state your achievements and experiences and how they prepared you for the given opportunity. You may mention some personal characteristics, especially if in the call for applications it is specified, and you again be as factual as possible and use examples. So basically, the body of the letter answers two main questions. How did your past experiences prepare you for this opportunity? And how will this opportunity help you reach your future goals? Basically, the second question is, why are you applying? What's in that for you? Right. The first question asks about how you are prepared for the given program. What have you done that you are already, prepared to be a good participant in the program? The second question asks how you will benefit from it. So programs usually, even exchange student programs or internships, usually look for people who are interested in, always look for students who are interested in the given subjects that is going to be taught or that is going to be presented during the exchange program, right? So they want to see your interest. They want to see your interest in the program, right? And they also want to know if you are prepared to be there. For instance, if the program is in English, you obviously need to know English, right? If the program requires some prior knowledge or experience in any field, you need to show that you have this experience. And this is usually what makes your application stand out, right? The explanation of your experiences and the statement of your motivation, why you want to be there. Okay, so some ways just to give you some phrases, some standard phrases of how you can start writing and start thinking about your body paragraph. This is for expressing interests and achievements and experience. So, for example, my passion for learning languages and cultures started when I was at the English language camp at school, right? So all these are interchangeable. All the underlined parts you can substitute with something else, which is more suitable. So my passion for whatever the exchange program is about started when I was still at school. Since then, I have perfected my skills in English language at such and such department at UCU and at foreign language courses offered in my city. I have also worked part-time as an interpreter for such and such company, where I gained a valuable experience in intercultural communication and perfected my organizational skills. To reach my goals, I have studied at such and such place, participate in such and such training program, volunteered at such and such organizations. These experiences have prepared me to become a successful exchange student. Right? So this is basically a very generic model of how your experiences can be explained, right? But what you should notice from this is that the student doesn't really not only says what they know, but shows the examples of where they gained those skills, through studies at the department, right? Through worked part-time as an interpreter, and how it benefited what he learned there, and participated in a training program, volunteered for a certain organizations. But this is how you show your interest. Now you may ask me, what if you don't yet have this wide array of experiences to show your interest, right? Usually when people start to think about those, there are ways to express their interest, even if you didn't yet have a chance to have a wide array of experiences. You have possibly read some books that relate to the subject. And this is the time you may mention them as well in your motivation letter. You may mention some books that inspired you. You may mention some personalities that inspired you. These could be, if it's an academic program, this could be professors or famous people from history, right? However, your main task is to explain why you are interested in this subject and how this exchange program or internship will help you reach your personal goals. All right. All right, let's pause here for a moment. Do you guys have any questions so far?
No.
No, somebody says no. Okay. Yeah, because I don't see your hands, so feel free to jump in and just say what you're gonna say. Okay, all right. So this is a very general statement about motivations, right? And yeah, we looked at that. You may include additional information, but here you have to weigh very carefully whether this information will be useful to you. Personal character traits. Do you mention them in motivation letters or not? This is a question that that depends on what the program wants from you. Right, and please tell me if we look again at the example of motivation letter that I just showed you, right? Would you include this call for applications? Would you talk about personal qualities here, that you are friendly, you maybe worked in a group, you're an open-minded person and stuff like that? Would you talk about personal characteristics here for this writing a motivation letter for this particular program? What do you think?
Maybe if I wanted to emphasize that I'm is an active person and I will join seminars, colloquials, and so on.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, thank you, Victor. You will definitely need to mention that you are going to participate in these activities, right? However, this program doesn't specifically want you to participate maybe in group activities, so it might be irrelevant for you to mention, how you interact with peers, and whether you're friendly or not. So whether you're interested in traveling or not, such things may be irrelevant for this particular program, because it is more the program emphasizes your interest in history, literature, and culture courses, right? It emphasizes work at the library. So it doesn't specifically ask you for instance, to work in groups, to do any specific activities, right, that require you to some kind of personal characteristics. However, some may require that. So whether you put information about what kind of person you are, right? It depends on what the program asks you to do. Right, so this program, however, has some specific requirements. For example, good academic standing, right, that you're a good student, willingness to participate in the university activities, which are specified here, seminars, colloquia, roundtables, right, and willingness to conduct 12 hours a month community service. So this point might be important as well, because you may mention here that your experience outside academia, that you conducted some community service or some work that is related to show that you are willing to, you know, do whatever is required for this program. Okay. So somebody, okay, here I'll take a moment and look at your questions. So in general, what is more important to write? Fact or include your feelings about the information you have received? You'll receive. And my answer is both. First of all, you should write. So it's not, but I would not frame it as that. It's not your feelings about the information you have received. It's not your feelings. It's actually how you will benefit from the program. So what you will get from the program, how you will be, what are you going to do with this knowledge that you got? Yes, and the facts that prepared you for it. Both are very important. Well, okay, this is the answer to the other question. And should the letter be emotional or formal? That's a good question. Most often than not, it should be formal. Most often than not, it should be very formal. For academic programs, definitely. For jobs, definitely. There are exceptional cases. For instance, when you are applying, let's say for summer school or something like that, that requires you to participate in some voluntary activity. You may use some emotional language to explain why this cause is important to you, but these cases are very rare. Usually 99.9% where you will be applying, the formal register, formal tone is required. As you can see also from the presentation that that was given here. So if we look at the beginning, right, it's a very formal presentation. Dear professor, dear members of the committee, right, I am such and such. It's a very, very formal presentation, as well as the main part of it. The body paragraphs should also be very formal. Avoid any language that is colloquial, and try to convey a sense that you are a serious person. Right, that you are seriously interested in this opportunity. Usually, you will be applying for opportunities that involve funding. So people want to find applicants who are not just gonna, you know, waste the money and waste the opportunity, but who are gonna be very serious in whatever they intend to do, that are gonna make commitment and complete the work well, right? So definitely formal register is very important. Okay, coming to about this personal slash formal thing. So sometimes personal character traits are important for specific purposes, as I said, but not for all motivational letters. And the way to include personal, to talk about some personal characteristics is, I learned to work well in a team and support others. I am a friendly and open-minded person who would love to learn more about other cultures. This is a very generic general statement about some personal features, non-academic ones. It would be also good if talking about personal characteristics, you also include an example. So you say that you are a friendly and open-minded person. One example you could bring about this is that you always enjoy working in groups at the university, and you may be organized with friends, and you do together some kind of activities that are also academic related, right? So this is one way to talk about that. It might be helpful, some motivation letters like you to provide an example in terms of a story. However, again, sometimes it's not required and not recommended. It depends on which program, which opportunity you apply for. And when you are telling a story, it should be strictly related to the call. So for example, when the program asks you, and the program is designed to prepare future interpreters, you can tell a small story, maybe like in 3 to 5 sentences, about how you came to be interested in interpreting, right? And it should always have a definitive conclusion, right? So this is why I got really interested in this. So you can start a personal narrative with, I remember once when I listened to interpreter working, and which made me realize that I want to study or to become an interpreter, right? So personal stories should usually not be long if they are incorporated in motivational letters, and should also depend strictly on the requirements of motivational letter. Okay. Yeah. So another way to introduce this personal touch would be your vision about the vision of the program about training interpreters resonates with me because I had an experience of interpreting for example, for the hospital. I enjoyed it very much because. So introducing personal stories like that serves only one purpose: to show your interest in the field and to show how you got to be interested in it, right? And to make your application interesting. So coming back to the body and to the structure of the body paragraph of the letter, the main part of the letter, right? The personal story would help you answer the question of why you are interested in the opportunity, and also will help you to explain your achievements of experiences, right? And remember that all you're saying will look much better when it is supported with facts and examples. Okay. So I will jump to conclusion of the motivation letter, and then we'll look at some example, and we'll see whether it's a good motivation letter or not. So in conclusions should be short. In conclusion, you can reiterate again how the program will help you reach your goals and opportunities. But don't repeat it in the same language. You're gonna paraphrase it. For example, studying at your program will give me an opportunity to do what? To come back to my university and share my knowledge with my peers. Studying at your program will give me an opportunity to learn about this and that which I cannot learn in my university, and apply for a master's program. Studying at your program will give me an opportunity to find my dream job in such and such. So it will be really valuable for me. In conclusion, mention your, your vision of the future. Usually people who are giving you these opportunities, they don't want you to just forget about the summer school or internship after it finishes. They want you to carry some important information with them. They want you to carry this information. So make sure you point out that you're gonna use this information in some important and meaningful way. So after finishing this program, I will be able to contribute to my community by doing something meaningful. So after finishing the program, I will be able to organize a seminar at my university and tell my fellow students what I have learned. Okay, so you can also mention your plans for the future, as I said before, right? It is also customary to thank for consideration of the application and to use the final phrases like sincerely or sincerely yours, your truthfully, your faithfully, and your name and last name. Okay, so don't forget again to mention your, this should go at the beginning normally, your contacts, how the program can contact you, right? Okay, so now let's look, we'll come back to the presentation in a while, but let's look at, again, at the motivation letter. We'll be talking about this again in a little bit, but let's look at the example of this motivation letter. It is not designed for the program that we looked at, but and you didn't see the call for applications, but it is a very general motivation letter, and I'm sure you will be able to point out how it can be made better. Okay, and as I see, there probably will not be many volunteers here to read it, so I'll be trying to read it in small chunks. So it starts, "Dear Sir, Madam, I have always dreamed to be an exchange student to another country. I would really like to tell people in the UK about our unique and beautiful culture, our customs and traditions." Is it a good introductory paragraph? In other words, what is missing?
Firstly, the person didn't said who or he or she is, and it's not there is not information about like program she is trying to reply on, and I think it will be better if she specify which country is like she wants to participate in program in, because when you say that it's I was always dreaming about visit any country, it sounds like please like it's like just please take me to this program. It's not important your program, I will reply, or other. It's for me just important to be a student with the experience of exchange.
Exactly. So I'm just writing down everything you just mentioned. This was Olesa, right? So where are you applying? And yeah, so name and last name, right? What and you have no idea how many UCU students submitted application letters without mentioning their names in them. right? So the other thing is mention your contact information. Who is the applicant? Who are you? Are you a student? What are you studying? So basically give the information about yourself, right? Where are you applying? Which program? Which program?
I would
We
like to
don't
add
know.
that
Yeah.
there are no strong argumentation about why the person want to be an exchange student, because as I know, a lot of international universities thinks that in these cases people would like to become immigrants, and they don't want to.
This is a really good point. So you have to show, if this is an academic program, right? You need to show that you are going to study, right? That you are going to use the time given to you in the program to do what the program wants you to do, and not you know, use it in any other manner, or use the program, you know, to do something else. So definitely so all this information is missing from the letter. All this information is definitely missing. So it's always a bad idea to start your letter with, I have always dreamed to be blah blah blah, right? It is a very general, a very trite statement, right? In order to be factual, think of and I'll show you in a minute. Is there a difference in motivational letter and motivational essay structure? Depending on the program. So usually my general sense is that if it asks for your motivation, it would be pretty much similar. So what you need to do in motivation letter is exactly what we were talking about, right? It is to show your interest and to show how you are prepared for this or that program. Okay, so coming back to the beginning, here we talked about the beginning of the motivation letter. I am a second-year student of such and such department. It is my pleasure to apply for this organization, right? Or I'm writing to apply for your study abroad program for future teachers, as it has been my lifelong interest to become a teacher, right? So this is a much better way to introduce yourself in the opening paragraph, right? So let's look at the other paragraphs. So where are you applying, which program, and it could also mention why are you applying, right? Okay, let's look at the body paragraph. It is very short. At my university, I'm not able to take all the courses that I would like to take. Therefore, an exchange program in such and such university will really help me to extend my knowledge in the field and help me determine my path in the future. I would really like to understand how history of the Great French Revolution is taught in the UK and its larger impacts on the development of the Western world, the modernization and innovations that followed from it, as well as the development of democracy. I'm a historian and I'm really interested in the progress of democratic ideas in the world. Yeah. I will not say it's good, because you probably all see something wrong with it. Yeah, so what specifically is wrong with this statement?
Well, I will, oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Roxlana, and then Victor will add.
Okay, so I will change like this sentence about that I cannot take, or I am not able to take courses that I would like to take in my university, because it sounds like strange. I will like say that it's great opportunity or something like that. And also my university is really great as well as yours. So something like that.
Exactly. Try to avoid a negative language. Instead, turn it into an opportunity. At my university, I was able to take great courses, X, Y, and Z. Okay, there is my problem with my keyboard, whatever. I will just such and such. They got me interested in the subject of French Revolution. At your university, I will be able to further my knowledge by taking ABC courses. So it's a good way to reframe what you wanted to say, right? In your university, you got interested in such and such subject, right? But at the university abroad, you would be able to further develop this interest. And if you look up and see which courses the other university offers, right, it will be a really good supplement to your knowledge. And you can say why these ABC courses will be so interesting to you. And here you are very factual. You're being very factual, and you actually went through the process of looking up the courses, and you know their specific names. You can also mention, I would be very happy to take course A with Professor John Smith, because John Smith has written a book on the subject of French Revolution. I would be very honored and interested to listen to what he has to say about the subject. See what I mean? So reframe is that. But, so this is to avoid negativity. But also, I would start talking about, because we don't learn that the person is a specialist in history until maybe somewhere in the middle or at the end, towards the end of the paragraph, and it should start. As a historian, as a future historian, that means at my university, I was able to take great courses ABC. Right? Okay, so that the people know exactly from the very beginning what your major is. Okay, so Victor, you had something to add, didn't you?
Yes. Also, there isn't any information about personal experience and achievements in similar to the history.
Very good. You need to supplement this. First of all, restructure this paragraph in a way that it makes sense, right? So first you can go about, you know, that you are a historian or aspiring historian, a student of history, or whatever your field is, right? Then what you need to do at the university, right? What has been your personal experience? To learn more about my topic of interest. I attended a seminar, and the name of the seminar, for instance, that highlighted the influence of the French Revolution on the development of democracy in the West, for instance. And here, this sentence shows that you had some experience, right? You showed and took some active steps to learn more about your subject. You took some active steps to do that, right? And from here, you can build on, add more experiences, and add more what you want to do with this. This inspired this seminar, or the information I got inspired me to write a course paper exploring whatever else, right? Exploring this and this and that. Again, you show your interest in the subject. This is how you develop your interest in the subject. And you also add up what the new program will help you. The library at the university, whatever, University of will, or the let's say not the specifically the library, but the collection, the specific collection, maybe the name of the collection at the library at the university will be of use to me and help me further work on my bachelor thesis dedicated to this problem or this subject, right? So these are general sentences, right? But hopefully you can see how my thought progresses, right? And it progresses in a way to give as much information as possible about you, as well as to say how this program will be helpful to you in reaching your goals. Your goal is to be a historian and to write great bachelor thesis on the French Revolution, okay, and its relation to the development of democracy in the West, right? So this is how you would structure your approximately how you can structure your motivation letter, right? Among your achievements, you can also mention any exposure to anything that relates to your topic, right? Yeah. Okay. And yeah, what else I wanted to add? Or maybe you guys can suggest what else can go into this motivation letter.
Maybe some information why this person decided to be a historian.
Yes, very well. Yes, it could be depending on if you're not sacrificing some space to say something more important about your achievements. It could be nice to say how you got interested in this field, right? How a person got interested in the field, right? And there could be many ways you can frame this. You of course you attended many seminars and you attended many lectures that could have been motivational for you and could have decided or influenced your decision to become a historian or whoever, whatever your subject area is, right? You could have met some motivational people that inspired you to become a historian. You could have read about some interesting people as well. There could be even some people that motivated you in your family. You know, you could have heard some family stories that inspired your interest in history. This is a very common thing, right? And this is also this also shows your interest, right, in the field. One other thing that this paragraph is not doing, it's not articulating clear goals. So, clear goals. Why you want to participate and what the outcome of it will be, right? So, in this program, I hope to learn. I hope to learn. And it's up to you what you want to learn, right? Afterwards, I hope to continue my education on master's level. Oops. Your program will help me reach this goal by providing valuable information about, yes, sorry for my misspellings. Yeah, right. So a clear articulation of the goals is also important, right? So you are hoping what you are hoping to achieve and how this program will help you achieve it. Okay, it might be this is more of an example of an academic program, because I think for most of you it will be most relevant to be in an academic program. Therefore, again, coming back to one of your questions, the academic tone is so important, right? But again, going back, if you are writing for a program, for example, it's not an academic program, but it's a voluntary opportunity. You will be, for example, volunteering and working with children, teaching children the basics of personal hygiene, for example, or teaching children, you know, something else, or playing with children during a summer camp, right? Then you don't have to be as academic, right? And you don't have to be as precise. However, you still need to articulate your goals, why you love to work with children, and how you hope this voluntary opportunity will influence your future. For example, I want to work with children because I hope to study children's psychology at the university, right? So people like the narrative of connectedness, right? So everything in your motivation letter should be connected. Your personal experiences should match your goals. Right? Your personal experiences should show how you have already taken steps to reach a certain goal. And this program, participating in this program, is one more step that takes you closer to your goal. Does that make sense? Hopefully, yes. Hopefully, yes. Okay, let's look at the ending of this motivation letter. I believe I will be a good cultural ambassador to your university. I have studied in a short-term program in Germany and took a summer school in Poland. Thank you very much for your consideration of my application. Sincerely yours. Okay. What's wrong with this sentence in general?
Like, it would be better to change the position of sentence I have studied in a short term, like to the main part, transfer it or something like that.
Okay.
Because it's the ending, like conclusion. We should say in it what studying in this program will give us.
And if you mention, yeah. So with the positioning of it is weird. The positioning where this information is positioned is definitely not right. But it should also serve a specific purpose. So if you have studied in short-term program in Germany and took a summer school in Poland, what have these experiences to do with the current program? Right. So if very often students make this mistake that they name the experience, but they fail to name the benefit of it. See what I mean? For example, what you got from the study in Germany. I have studied in a short-term program in Germany where I learned if the program, for example, you're applying for requires some teamwork, you could say where I learned to work in teams to explore subjects related to history, something like that, right? And I took a summer school in Poland, which was focused on something historic or non-historic, but still relevant to the focused on working in library archives, or volunteering in library archives. I learned XYZ from this experience, and this will help me to do X, Y, and Z in the current program. So explain how these experiences you have relate to the current program. Do you see what I mean? Yes. So we have workshopped this latter. One other thing that I want to show you is coming back to our PowerPoint. So there are some very common mistakes, or not mistakes, but things people do that kind of are not a good idea to include in motivation letters. One of them is avoid very generic phrases. I have always dreamed of becoming an interpreter. Study abroad will be really helpful to me. There is nothing wrong with this sentence per se. However, the problem, do you know what the problem with it is? Can you tell me? Study abroad will be really helpful to me. How do we make it better?
Maybe tell the facts.
Exactly. Very good, Victor. Very good. So study abroad will be really helpful for me because it will provide me a valuable experience of working in library archives that I never had before. Make it sound like the only opportunity that you have and you are grasping it, and be factual, right? So study abroad will be really helpful to me because, right? If you add because and the explanation, this would really make a big difference. So don't be general, be specific. Okay, now think like this. I studied sociology and now I really want to study psychology. So somebody who majors in sociology wants to change a subject and study psychology now. How do we go about this this thing in motivational letters? People change their opinions all the time. So it's okay if you want to change what you want to study, as long as you explain why you want to change it. Again, and you also, it will be also very helpful if you say how your studies of sociology prepared you to study psychology in the future. It would be a really helpful and strong move, right? So if you want to study something different in the exchange program, then what you are studying, explain why, and explain how your previous experience helped you to, prepared you for what you want to study in the future. Okay, this is something you should avoid by all cost. I am better than everybody else, so you should choose me for your program. What's wrong with that?
It's too arrogant.
Yeah, it's arrogant. It's very it doesn't show you as a good and humble person, right? And if you're not a good and humble person, it doesn't look like you would be great and thankful student, unfortunately. So the better way, maybe you have heard the term show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. That means let your experiences show what kind of person you are, right? So better than saying that, you could also say that and prove that you have taken steps towards your goal, and you have to also prove that you have the necessary experiences that it takes, and you have the necessary motivation that it takes, right? So at school, I was generally a good student, only I came late for my classes. So some people mention their weaknesses in their motivation letters, right? This is probably not the best way to do it, unless you want to make a point, right? For instance, if you want to say, I was late for my classes, therefore I am motivated now to teach all students the value of being punctual and the value of planning ahead. But generally, it's a good idea not to mention something that you consider to be your weakness. It might come up in interviews, right? Sometimes your interviewers would like to ask you, what do you think your biggest weakness is? But motivation letter is not a place to talk about that. Your motivation letter also should not repeat the information that you included elsewhere. So if in your CV you mention all these experiences that you're going to talk about in motivation letter, it is your opportunity to develop them and to say how they were helpful to you. But do not simply repeat the lines from your resume or your CV. Also, using wrong tone or style. Again, 99.9% of the times, motivation letters are very formal. So using an informal style, informal register, will automatically show you as present yourself as the person who is not very committed and not very serious about your goals, and you want to look serious for this particular program, right? Yeah. And Yeah, so we've covered most topics that I wanted to talk about. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, I will just look at the screen and see if anyone was raising the hand. Yeah, thank you so much for keeping your videos and not turning them off. That was really helpful to see some of the reactions. Yeah. So somebody writes, so the contact info is also included in the essay. The contact info is at the very beginning, at the head of the essay. It is a good idea to always include your contact information either at the very beginning or at the end. It's basically in this very blob that goes before the motivation letter itself. See, you can also include it at the end of the motivation letter. Right? You can also add a sentence at the end of the motivation letter to the committee that says, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me using the information provided. Okay? So sometimes you will be, in addition to a motivation letter, you would be also filling out the form. You would be filling out the form. So if you fill out the form, then it might be not necessary to include your contact information because it will already be in the form. All right. Yep. Thank you. Anything else? Anything else? Okay. I hope you had fun with discussing some motivation letter mistakes and making it better. Right? Okay, if you guys have no question, we are exactly on time, 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I thank you all for your attention. All right, and thanks for being here. The recording of this session will be available. I think, I'm pretty sure, and Yarina will share it. Okay, thank you very much for being here.
Have a nice day.
Thank you too.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.